Hey guys, welcome back to RC Legends. So in today's video, we're going to be building this bad boy. So it's a Kyosho Javelin, and obviously it's not the original. So this is part of Kyosho's Legends series, superb series of cars. I've got big plans for this one. In this video, it's going to be the full chassis build. And I think it's probably, and I'm not 100% sure if this is correct, but it feels like it is. I think this is my actual first full Kyosho car I've built. There's something in the back of my mind saying I built an Optima Mid SE for my dad's friend back in the day. I certainly did a lot of work on that car, but I honestly can't remember if I built it from scratch initially. But anyway, we'll call this my first one. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. Before we get into the build, I've got massive plans for this. It's not going to be standard. As I say, in this video we'll do a full chassis build and it'll be chain driven, not the belt. I want to keep it as close to original as possible. At a later date, we've got a full carbon conversion to go onto it, which is just going to be off the chart. And then obviously we've got the cage to do. The kit cage, obviously, is this reddy orange colour. I'm going to do it in white because I just think it looks absolutely stunning in white. And at a later date, we've actually got, shout out to Keith, we've actually got the mint green cage for it as well to fit for a second option. So that's going to be cool. I've also got reproduction Marwan original tyres for it for when it's finished. And I've done away, or I'm doing away with the Kyosho driver. I just don't like the drivers. And I've got a Tamiya Fox driver to go in, which really adds to the detail. So yeah, there's going to be a lot, and then we're going to run it, which is going to be mega cool. So there's a lot to do, but the first starting point is obviously to build this gorgeous chain-driven four-wheel drive chassis. So let's get cracking. Right, just before we get into this, just a quick look at the box cover. Very nice indeed. Really looking forward to this build. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Again, not a massive fan of this reddy orange cage on it, and I know lots are, I get it. But for me, the best two colours are white and the mint green. I just think they look off the chart. And then quickly, just look at the box. God, it's a shame, isn't it, to rip all that open. Just in case you didn't see the first video, the Javelin comes with the option of chain driven or belt driven, and you get belt pulleys and chain pulleys. If you don't know, the original was chain driven, and that's what I'll be doing. Right, let's get into this. Right, that's everything out, and there's a lot of metal in this kit. Yeah, this is going to be great. Right, stage 1, open bag A, and it looks like we're doing the gear diffs. Okay, that's stage 1. So on the left we have the front diff and the metal, that's the plastic housing, and then the alloy housing, or whatever it is, whatever metal it is that's the rear one. So interestingly, normally with diffs that I've done previously, the very small diff gears that join both bevels usually get 4 gears. This is done with 2 on each. So they're greased up now. So moving on to number 2, we actually do the diff pulley next. Right, that's stage 2 done. That was a little bit confusing. Just because you have the option of chain or belt drive. So obviously the pulleys change, so these are the chain ones on both. So that's your front unit and that's your rear unit. And there's also a pin either side that locates the bevel, and it's a little bit fiddly to get in there. It just takes a little bit of time, but yeah, it feels good. Quite tight, those diffs. Not mega tight, but yeah, feels smooth though. Interesting. I've really enjoyed putting those together. Something quite different actually. So just looking at the instructions now, we're on stage 3. So yeah, that's actually the, I presume, rear gearbox housing. And stage 3 is rear gearbox housing. So there's a bearing, big bearing there. There's a bearing behind that piece of plastic. That, well, I won't take it out. You fit the bearing first, and then this bit of plastic goes in. But there's 2 bearings in that piece, and then just the same there with obviously without that plastic part. Right, and that's the belt, or belts, or a chain, and you've got to be really careful. The chain only goes one way around, and then obviously feeds through the gearbox like that. This is just a temporary shaft you put in place, I presume, until you close the gearbox up, which is the next stage. And that's stage 4 complete. So yeah, this temporary shaft you put in is because there's a metal sleeve that goes in the inside. So yeah, you can take that out now once the gearbox is clamped together, and then you get the idea. That's your chain. Very smooth, that, very free. So just looking at the instructions now, moving on to stage 5, is exactly the same but on the front gearbox. Right, that's stage 6 complete. This is cool, lads. This is really cool. So we've done quite a lot on this. So you've got your bottom plastic runner, and then there's like a polycarbonate thing that tucks in either end to keep the grime out. And then same on the other, but it's only to this length. Obviously the chassis will take care of the rest. So yeah, we've got that bit, and we can sort of listen to that noise. Chain drive, baby. Really nice and smooth as well. Really like it. So moving on to stage 7 now, is looks like the rear motor plates that bolt onto the back. Right, that's stage 7 complete. What was just to put that metal block onto the motor guard and a little spindle on that side and that rod there. Also, we've got these plastic wing mounts which are just clipped on. Now we're on to stage 8, so basically now we've got to put that all together, including the opposite side of the motor plate and also the chassis rails. So yeah, this bit looks pretty involved. Well, that bit was absolutely superb. I really enjoyed that. So the front rails are not attached, so I've got to be careful. But yeah, all this is bolted up now, and it all just lined up absolutely perfectly. That was a real pleasure, because as you can imagine, when you're doing sort of both sides plus the rails, you have to leave everything loose, and to make sure I've got all the screws in, and then nip it up at the end. But that is absolutely fantastic. So looking at the instructions now, we've got to open bag C, and looks like the front bumper has got to go on. Right, stage 9, that's the front end, 4 bolts. What else? Oh, and then this centre unit here, which really does clip onto that bottom tray, and then 2 bolts either side. So it's giving it a lot more strength now, and it's all sort of effectively lined up. Now, the only concern I've got is this. There's something in here. Now, I'm hoping. Sorry, let me just see something. No, it's not that. Something's rattling around, and I thought it was a chain, but it's not. It's yeah. I'm not too sure what that is. I'm hoping by the time we put the rest of it together, that's going to stop. But yeah, fingers crossed. Right, that is section 11 finished, and I made my first mistake. These chassis rails, obviously we've got lots of the holes in different positions, and I actually thought I'd got them correct, but this side was correct, but I had this side needed turning, so I just had to drop 3 bolts out, whatever it is, and do that. And the reason I found that is because we've just put the steering in, and one of the holes was to the outside and it needed to be to the inside. So yeah, this steering servo saver here, that came pre-built. You just put the ball end on, and then just ball end, and then there's a little bracket that joins them both. So yeah, that's the steering like that. So looking on to stage 12, where it's to add these, don't know what they call them, front side plates, and some arm mounts. And that's stage 12 finished, which was put these 2 side plates on, and then put the upper arms on, and then tighten it all up. and that is pretty awesome. I've got to be honest, guys, this is class. This really is. Now, again, I've said many times, I've had lots of this chassis. I get it. I know the chassis really well, but I've never built one. So obviously, when you have built cars, you do a little bit of work on them, but I've never even stripped one completely. So this is all brand new to me, and it is off the chart in quality. Really, I don't mean just like Kyosho quality. I just mean the engineering of it. You know, I mean, I don't want to compare it to Tamiya because that's not what I want to do on this channel. But I mean, just look at that. That's awesome. And this is a very early model design. And Kyosho, as we know, really only got better when it went away from this chassis to the mid chassis. Can't stop looking at it. It's absolutely awesome. Right, so as I say, we're on to stage 13 now, which is fitting the slipper clutch. Well, for those of you who know just how much of a bell I am, I'm just going to re-emphasise that. I actually missed a gear out of the rear gearbox. What a bell. I cannot believe. So that noise that was rattling earlier on was because oh God, I can't believe I did that. So I've had to drop the back end out again. It's all done now, but I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, so what we've done is the spur gear is in, that's the slipper clutch, and then obviously at the other side we have the adjusting nut for the slipper, but now we're actually got all the right gears in. What an idiot. God, it just shows you, doesn't it, when you're not concentrating. Just something so major as well like that. Completely forgot it. Anyway, that feels great, and I've adjusted it up flush as the instructions say. So let's move on to the next stage. Right, that's section 14 finished, which was just doing the front and rear turnbuckles. And then we're moving on to 15 now, where we fit the front and rear shock tower, we fit the turnbuckle arms, and put some on the top of the shocks, put the actual shock screws in. Right, that's stage 15 finished, so front tower's on, shock screws are in, and as you mount the front shock tower, the arm clamps in between that plastic bracket. Rear, 2 bolts to hold the rear on, shock bolts are in, and again the rear arms are in. Yeah, now it's starting to look a little bit like a car. So on to 16 now, which is a front and back drive arms. Right, that's us up to stage 16. So front and back arms are on. Really cool. It's got these pins here, and on the front it's got a flat spot right there, and then there's a little grub screw that goes in. So you got to position the pin and then tighten it up. The rears are identical apart from the grub screws right. So the pin goes in from this side, and the flat spot on the pin is up at this end, so you push it all the way through and then tighten that grub screw up. So yeah, we're starting to look like a car. Right, moving on to stage 17, which is the front hubs. Right, that's section 17, which is the front hubs. Very, very nice indeed. Really, really nice. First time I've ever seen. So basically, on your normal 12mm adapter, it's got a cutout on the other side for the pin. So you put your pin through the shaft, and then you put your hex adapter on. And then if it's an alloy one, you'll have a little tiny grub screw going through to tighten it to keep it on. This is completely different. So basically, you put the whole hex adapter on, and then you line the hole up, and this screw here goes all the way through, and the thread's on the top of the screw, so it pushes all the way through, locates it onto the shaft, and then you tighten it up. Very, very cool indeed. Really, really like that. Right, so moving on to stage 18 is to connect that front end up. Okay, that's 18 and 19 finished. 19 was just making the steering arms, that was it. But yeah, that's it all on, and everything nice and free. All seems to be lovely. So jumping on to 20 is making the rear hubs up, and then 21 is fitting them. So we'll do all that in one hit. Right, that's up to 21. So basically, yeah, rear end's on now, all connected. It's really nice, you can feel the overall drive. It's really smooth. Diffs are quite tight. Yeah, both front and back. Only thing I did have to question was the angle of the upper arms. See the angle of them? I thought, that can't be right. So I had to nip downstairs and just dig out my Optima Pro just to make sure. But yeah, it's right. Kind of looks like it needed to go somewhere else or a spacer. What a thing, my friends. What a thing. Fantastic build, this. Right, looking at the instructions, we're on 22, which is the FRP top deck. There's a, yeah, I'll dig the bits out because they're in front of me. So we've got that top deck, we've got this thing that goes on there, and then there's some like battery things that just go off the side. So I'll make that plate up and then I'll come back and show you it before we stick it on the car. Right, that's 22 finished, which was, as I say, doing the top deck. I called it FRP. Apologies if it's not. Don't know what it is. Don't actually think it is FRP. This metal bracket goes on, the battery holder things, and then you make these up front and backs, and you squash a nylon lock nut into 2 in each. And the idea is that these clamp onto the chassis first, but you leave them loose, and then you put the top deck on and then tighten it all up in one hit. So that's actually what section 23 is, so I'll do that now. Right, that's up to stage 23. There's a fair bit of work involved in that top deck actually. Got that little reinforced alloy plates, there's 2 bolts there, there's 2 in the middle, there's 2 at the back, and then right in the middle there's another 2 that attach onto the chain, the plastic guide either side. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So that's basically the car. So moving on to 25 is to build the shocks. Now these shocks are bottom filled. Not done those before, obviously, like stuff like Tamiya and stuff that you always fill them from the top. So I'll just build those off camera because a shock's a shock, isn't it? Right, I just want to show you something that I think is absolutely class from Kyosho. So I built the shocks. Now I've not filled them because before I put oil in, I want to make sure I'm happy with the ride height, because you know me. Anyway, I thought we'll just build them without the oil. The O-rings are oiled, so everything's moving. But I just wanted to show you this. So you get this little cute spanner from them, and then there's this little square things on the parts tray which fits into the spanner. You then get this red piece and this metal piece that you put a screw in to hold it together. And the purpose of this is, this goes through there so you can hold it, and then this one, let me just get this the right way around, goes over and you turn it until, no, I think I've got that wrong way actually, sorry. And then that clips on and that allows you to tighten it. Now I won't go crazy tight because there's a gasket on there, and I don't want to tighten it up fully until all the oil's in. But seriously, how cool is that? I mean, yeah, that's a different league from Tamiya, that is. That is absolute class. Right, all I've got to do now is make the suspension adjustable collars up with one little screw, and then we can put the springs on. Right, that's the shocks made. So it gives you the collar adjustments, but I've got them right to the top. I just want to see how it sits. Again, no oiling. And what have I got? Probably about 2 mil on the long rear shocks. But yeah, the idea is just to get them mounted, and once the wheels and tyres on, just see how the car's sitting before I put oil in and that. I've got a sneaky feeling they'll be pretty good actually. But anyway, next job is number 28, and that is, yeah, to get the shocks on. Right, that's up to 28. So obviously the shocks are on now. Again, no oil, but and the rears. So yeah, still a little bit to go before I can put the wheels and tyres on. So looking at stage 29, we now put this front protector on, and then the main bumper, and then it's basically radio gear, which obviously I'm skipping in this video. So radio gear, don't need that. So yeah, we'll get the bumper on and then we'll jump to step 31. Right, I'm saying it was a protector and then the main bumper. It's not, it's a choice of bumpers, which is really snazzy. I didn't realise it came with that. So obviously that's your big normal bumper that goes there, which sticks out of the front. But you get this cute little thing. So I've bolted that down now. I really like that. Obviously if you're running it hard and stuff, you want the big bumper on. But yeah, I like that. That's an added bonus. I did not know it came with that. Right, as I say, jumping on to step 31 is the, what would you call it? Yeah, it's the main spur gear and gearbox housings, which we've got to gasket. Right, step 31 to make this spur gear up. A little bit of work there. Main centre gear pops all the way through. Sorry, this way. And then there's a little like circlip, if you can just see that clips it in place. And then a bearing either side. There's an O-ring, that's for fitting it. And then they supply this gasket, which is just got to take your time and get that on. So looking at the instructions now, that's on 32 where it would be normally fitting the motor onto the pinion and fitting the motor in the car. Obviously we're not doing that. So yeah, it's just a case of getting the gearbox cover on now. So just before I cover that up with the gearbox cover, that's how that goes on. So it drives onto that. So obviously the motor through here, pinion onto here. And that's how the gear train works. And now apparently, see, so I've taken the body clip off, which was on this spindle from the start, and then this just fits on like that. That was easy enough. I'm doing this behind camera, probably the stupidest thing I can do. Oh my goodness me. Why am I doing this behind a camera? Getting old, my friends, getting old. Alright, I've started. I can't give this up, I'm going to look stupid. Right, I think now we just, yeah, press. Right, that's how that goes. Nice, very tidy, like it. Yeah, that's great. So, oops. Been at this all day. Starting to get a little bit weary, but I do want to get this finished. So, jumping on to step 33, which is basically fit the foams into the tyres and glue the tyres onto the wheels. Not going to do that. We'll probably fit the foams in, but we're not going to glue because we'll be changing the wheels and tyres over at some point. Yeah, and then it's put the wheels on. So let's get, oh, hang on. Sorry, I was just looking. Right. It's jumping onto the body and the cage side of it, which we're not going to do today. Right, I did have to put the foams in. This rubber is so soft. Even that's got foams in and it's still really soft rubber. I like it. Wheels are great. But directional, so you got to get left and right correct. So yeah, let's get them on the car. Right, that's that done. Looks a bit beefy, doesn't it? Yeah, we're not happy about that. Right, yeah, it's kind of done as far as it can be, I think. First I can kind of feel the diffs properly. Nice and smooth. That's the front, should be the same. Yeah. And then, without the wheels moving, yeah, the overall, it's really free. It's really nice. So, yeah, as I say, I think that's really about as far as I can go in this video. God, there's so much clearance there. I know the weight's not in the car, I get it, but even when the weight's in, it's not going to sit that much lower. I guess a lot will depend on the cage and things like that. I'm just debating actually, do I even bother lowering it at this stage, or do we just continue with the build and then go out and run it, and then when I've kind of finished with it and it's had a few batteries through it, maybe bring it back in and then maybe give it its shelf height, which to be honest would be about there. I think, yeah, that'd look pretty badass, but obviously everything needs adjusting there. So yeah, I'll probably have a think about that. Again, not put the oil in the shocks yet, but yeah, I probably just need to have a think about what I'm doing on this next. In fact, I do know what I'm doing on this next, but I'm not going to tell you guys because it's a surprise. There'll be a shortish video coming soon with this car where I'm going to add some bling. Yeah, I like that. That's been a cracking build. Well, what a build that was, my friends. That's a different gravy, as they say. Well, we only say that in the north of England. You're probably looking at it going, what's he just said? Yeah, absolutely stunning build. Absolutely stunning. There was no part of this build that I did not enjoy. And a lot of that is because it's different from what I'm used to. But nevertheless, just class. Just quality all the way through. Yeah, so I'm super chuffed to get it to this stage today. As I say, there's another shorter video coming soon of this car, and we're going to add some bling to it, tasteful bling. And then the video after that, whenever that is, I'll be putting the cage on and spraying it up, and decals, driver, maybe change the wheels, maybe spray the wheels, reproduction, Marwan, tyres of the originals, tyre writing. So we've got all that stuff to do. So yeah, there is a lot of work for this, and at some point we've got to get electrics in it and get a running video done. Yeah, I don't know what order it's all going to be in. I need to have a look at this now, and I do want to figure out how I can give it a very, probably drop it at least 8, maybe 10 mil. Maybe not that much, I don't know, but maybe, I don't know. But because those shocks are filled from the bottom, I'm not too sure how I would space that, because I don't think I can space internal spaces like I do on normal shocks. But I might be talking out my bottom, I don't know. I just need to have a look at that. But yeah, what an absolute off the chart build that was. Really, really, really cool. Yeah, I'm dribbling on, but it's been a long day. That's taken me a full day from, what was it, around about 8 in the morning, and it's just gone about 5:30 in the evening now. So yeah, it's an involved build, but super enjoyable. Yeah, loved it. Anyway, I will shut up. So, as always, my friends, thanks so much for watching. It honestly is massively appreciated. If you are new to this channel, if you could maybe give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn all the notifications on, leave a comment, say hello. That'd be absolutely awesome. And as always, happy ass seeing.